Ladies and gentlemen, ladies, hey, welcome to the show. As you can see, the boys are back.
What's up, Maddie?
Matty Ice, how you doing? So we were talking some wrestling. That's what we're going to talk about tonight. We're going to look at Saturday night's main event. But we were just talking about overall stuff. And I tell you, overall, I have not been. It's been what now? 4.5 months. We'll call it 5 months ish of Raw on Netflix. And I can honestly say I have not been impressed on what they have been doing on Raw.
Yeah, no.
I don't think the shows have. I think there was an expectation of going to a paid service that it was going to be. I don't know. That it was going to be more. That it was going to be more than what it has become, and it seemed as though they did more on USA Network than they're doing on Netflix.
Yeah.
Yeah,
it was.
So
it was bad.
Yeah,
I
don't wonder if it has anything to do with who's running the show now. Like with them selling the company, that has anything to do with the lackluster.
Could be.
I don't know. That was the one thing I was wondering. Yes, Triple H, the head of creative, the COO, whatever the hell he is of the WWE.
Mm-hmm.
But it's different now. Because now, you have a company that is looking at you and expecting you to do certain things and to go ahead and make money, right? But I'm not saying they didn't want to make money before. They were in control of their own destiny. Now, they answer to a whole different bunch of people.
Correct.
And how long was that contract for with Netflix? Like almost 10 years or something like that?
Is it 10? I think so. I don't remember exactly how long, but it's it's kind of like the deals that Fanatics has with the NBA and the NFL. Like they, I think it was like 10-year deals with them. So nothing that's going to come up anytime soon. But I just think, again, it's weird that all of a sudden, you're watching the show and, all right, Big John, what's happening, buddy?
Big John's in the house. What's up, brother?
So,
happy birthday, Big John. Happy birthday.
Yeah, so we were curious. You said you were prepping. Is this like a birthday vacation you're going on?
I also heard that they want to move SmackDown to Netflix, which I think ruins everything then. Because if they can't do Raw correctly, they're going to do SmackDown the same way.
Oh, yeah.
I
just find it odd that all of a sudden it's like the shows are 2 hours and 32 minutes or 2 hours and 22 minutes. It's like, what the hell are you doing?
Yeah, USA, they went that 3 hours, maybe a little bit over sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know. I think it's going to be interesting to see
commercials and stuff on Netflix. Like a lot of the commercials that they would have had like extra advertising.
Yeah. Now you can buy. Netflix has a option for you to pay more money to not see commercials.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know how much it's worth because I know some people who are wrestling fans that have Netflix with no commercials, and all they're saying is yeah, the guys talking on the mic, or it's not like any action is going on, right? It's just it's a longer entrance for for whoever's coming out as they're going to commercial break.
Yeah.
That's really all it is. But
I did find an injury update thing with all the people who are injured, like Kevin Owens mid 2026. Rey Mysterio is due back in August. Tama Tonga is unknown. Tongaloa is June. Bronson Reed is unknown. Dragunov is around September. Apollo Crews, which nobody cares about, is unknown. Bianca Belair with a broken fingers is July or August. Asuka is due back after Backlash. Kairi Sane, we all know, got medical care because she wrestled.
Yep.
Didn't Kiana James get released? thought she was on that list, but maybe
No,
not.
it was Carter, or like, it was Carter and Chance. They kind of had like the same type of first name.
And Bo Dallas has been cleared since March, and Bailey was not injured, just written off the TV. So she probably wanted a vacation. Usually what that does.
Well, it's interesting. They had the layoffs. I think we talked about that. And I don't know. I mean, the thing that gets me. I think we talked about, you bring Rusev back, you bring whatever his name is.
Aleister Black, yeah.
Aleister Black back. And, I mean, I get you wanting them back, but what does that do for some of the other guys? Where does that push other guys? I mean, are you going to really bring a guy like Rusev back? He really just going to be a mid-card? Like, is he really just going to go ahead and go against freaking... Tozawa? I mean, that's really what they're doing next week. On next Monday, it's Rusev against Tozawa.
Yeah.
All-star booking.
Oh. Makes sense. Yeah, I did see that Jim Irsay passed away this afternoon.
Yep.
Did see that. So,
well, the bigger news is we lost Norm. Come on.
That's true. Very, very true. So, Saturday night main event. As of right now, all I've seen is 4 matches.
Uneventful. That's all I'm going to say.
I mean, seems like that's all they're announcing lately anymore. Like, wasn't that 4? Was it like 4 matches last time?
I think so.
Yeah.
So, we got John Cena against R-Truth. We got McIntyre against Priest. Uso against Paul. And we have the tag match, Rollins, Breaker, Punk, Sami Zayn. So, Damian Priest against, Drew McIntyre, steel cage match.
5th time now?
Exactly.
It is very, it is a sad, you're 100% correct. I don't even know what to think about this one anymore. I mean, I really don't. I just don't. I don't know what they're trying to do.
I kind of don't care who wins or loses this one. It's just like whatever.
This is like the modern day Cesaro versus Sheamus, where they literally just fought each other like every single week on SmackDown for like 2 years.
Yeah.
There's no storyline with it.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that's the problem. Is like where here it is. These are 2 ex-world champions.
Mm-hmm.
And this is what they have become. Yet again, you want to bring on Rusev. You want to bring on Aleister Black. Like, you can't bring those guys back and they agree to be a mid-card guy. I mean, maybe they do, but I don't get it. I don't understand what this does. I don't understand what it does for either one of their futures.
Nothing.
From that standpoint. But, I mean, I'm with you. So, Priest won. Right? No, Priest didn't win.
Yeah, no, Drew won at the last pay-per-view because I picked him to lose and he won.
Right.
Done. That's literally.
And then you could say that Priest won because he gave him the choke slam off of the sound stuff into the tables.
Mm-hmm.
So he kind of got a leg up on that one, and then you have this one. I don't know. I don't really know. I don't think there's much to this. It should be the lead match to go ahead and get it the hell out of the way. But it's sad.
If I had to pick one, I'm giving it to Damian. I just think the way they're going to go with it.
I'm with you on that, and only because Drew won the last one. It's like it's one of those rivalries where it's like a back and forth thing. I think.
Yeah, and unless they're setting up Drew for I don't know. I don't. To me, I don't think he doesn't seem to be the type that would want to join Heyman. But I don't know. I'm not 100% sure. But yeah. I think Priest will win this.
Oh, they'll keep it going for probably at least 1 or 2 more matches.
Yeah. I mean, you might as well. You're paying their salaries. You might as well have them do something. Who knows? And the tag match. This one to me is the most intriguing one.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot of things that could go on in this match.
Yeah. What do you think?
I want to say Punk and Sammy are going to win it, but then afterwards, Sammy's going to turn on Punk somehow and join Seth and Braun. That's some reason I see that happening. He just has it in his eyes.
I can see that. I've actually heard that on some rap sheets just over the last couple hours, just researching some about the pay-per-view, and that was one of the rumors that potentially Sammy may turn on Punk, giving Seth and Braun the win, which I could totally see Seth and Braun kind of getting the win anyway, just because I feel like momentum's on their side right now.
Yeah, I mean, don't they have to win?
I don't think they have to win because they could, if CM Punk wins, him and Sammy win, they could keep it going like they like to. But if Sammy turns on him, now Punk's got to find somebody else to join him.
Well, I mean, yeah, and when you have the faction of the three of them, Punk and Rollins are the ones that has the heat per se, of supposedly
Right.
hating each other. I mean, I really wonder how much truth there is to that back and forth that they have. Yeah, you know what I'm saying? Like if there is some,
Like real hate backstage type
right,
stuff.
just below the surface stuff where Seth really is irritated at him and everything. Dom thinking Zayn eats the pin here.
Dami, why are you not on here with us? We need you on here, buddy.
Yeah, Dommy.
We need you at least one time. Come on.
To me, that's the biggest. I think the biggest question out of this one, rather than who's winning, is Sammy turning.
If he doesn't turn there, it'll be on Monday night probably.
But I don't know what him turning does. Are you all of a sudden going to have Sammy? And so is the idea with this faction that Seth is going after the world title? Let's say Sammy is a part of it. Is Sammy and Braun going for the tag team title?
I don't see. Well, Sammy and Braun go for tag team. That's a good possibility.
That's what I mean, right? If you bring the three of them together, we already know Rollins is going to be going for the title. Right. We pretty much already know that at some point in time, Seth Rollins is gonna pin.
He made that clear Monday night.
Either Jey Uso or Gunther for the belt. That's gonna happen. So that leaves Breakker as what? You let him drop the IC title to do what? Just be an enforcer. So I think I can see a third guy.
Brandon,
what's up, Brandon?
Hey, Brandon.
If you're free, Brandon, we wouldn't mind having you either. Jumping on.
Yeah, Brando, you're wrestling. I invited Stix G, but he never responded to my email. So that's the only thing that I wonder from, that's the thing that gets me about the Heyman thing. I think that's why you are looking at a third one. And I do see it. To me, does it make sense that it be Sammy? I don't know. Yes, no, I don't know. But I think you pull the IC title, unless you're going to have Breakker go back after the IC title. I think if you bring a third member, you're looking at a tag team that goes after the belts.
Oh yeah, definitely.
What do you think, Anthony?
Yeah, I could totally see that too. Either that, or I could totally see something like a jealousy angle bruise, or something where eventually Braun would want to then challenge Seth. You know what I mean? So like, there's a few different ways they could take it, but your way is probably the most accurate.
Yeah.
I mean, ultimately down the road, does Heyman screw Seth and or I mean, I don't know. I mean, I don't think so. I think this is something that brews for a while. I mean, when you look at when Heyman had the champion under his, as has his, let's say, we'll say advocate or wise man or best friend to CM Punk, those guys did have decent length title runs.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I mean, like I said, I think if somehow Sammy and CM Punk win Monday night, obviously Seth and Braun are going to come out and challenge him again, probably on that night, and then that's where Sammy might turn on him. But I don't know. I know Sammy's going to turn somewhere though. You can just feel it.
Yeah, I mean, it does go ahead and make sense. I mean, if the idea is, that Seth is going to go for a title, that does take CM Punk out of the what do you want to call it, rivalry, whatever you want to call it, of hey, you screwed me type thing. Having Sammy turn on him does keep that alive of trying to go ahead and continue to go after that faction, I think.
And then I also saw somewhere that's Zelina Vega has put something out, I guess, on Twitter or somewhere that teasing a AJ Lee return. I don't know if any of you saw that, but that I don't know what that would mean unless you have Becky join the faction there.
Yeah, I don't know. I think you know, I think adding a female, wrestler, is a very interesting thing. Um, I don't know how much people would like it if they did add Becky. Was are you adding Becky because she's Seth's wife?
That's
Which
the only
people might
reason.
be like, ugh,
Yeah.
what kind of crap is that? But then people might like it. So I don't know. Like I said, to me, I don't really know about an outcome on this one. To me, the big thing is Sami Zayn gonna turn on CM Punk on Saturday night?
And will it be during the match or after the match or even before the match? We don't know. Because he could turn on him before and make CM Punk go out there alone.
He could. He could. I mean, he could do it, in the middle. I mean, I think the thing you got to realize is, are these last time was it 2 hours or 3 hours? It's 2 hours, right?
For what, main event?
Yeah.
I think they're about 2 hours roughly, yeah.
So it's 2 hours. You only have 4 matches. So unless there's going to be a ton of talking,
Which is possible.
which is possible
Mhm.
because I mean,
That
Priest
talking,
and I mean,
Got
the steel cage match could only go for so long. This could only go for so long. So I don't know. I mean, it's interesting to see where this goes, in my opinion.
yeah.
This makes no sense to me. I'm not exactly sure. I think for me, I think if this is a Gunther run-in, uh, and that's how he attacks Logan Paul. So Logan Paul gets the W. Jay gets disqualified because of outside outside interference. From that standpoint. What do you
Stick's
guys
going to
think?
come here?
Yeah, I think that Jay's going to retain in this one, whether it's a Gunther thing or whether it's straight up. I don't think it's going to be a straight up win. So I could see some form of outside interference here because I think they want to make Logan Paul look strong, but I also think that they want to use this to kind of try to build with all of his viewers and everything like that.
Wow, that would be really good, Lockin.
Yeah, that's a
Gunther beating the crap out of Logan, he would become a big face.
you would. I mean, this is Jey Uso all day long, winning whether it's a qualification win or something. Logan Paul didn't deserve the match to begin with. I don't believe he's done enough to deserve a title match, but he's already had enough. But I mean, I don't think it's anywhere near his time to even hold one of the big titles. If Gunther doesn't get involved, I have a feeling possibly Randy gets involved. I don't know. Or Randy might get involved in the other match during the night.
Well, see, I think, yeah, I guess here's the, or are they setting this up for this? So Gunther interferes. Logan Paul can't go ahead and, win the title. 2 weeks later, Gunther against Jey Uso, Logan Paul comes out, making it to where Gunther can't win the title, and then we get Gunther Logan Paul at SummerSlam.
I can see that.
It keeps it keeps Jay, in the title, in the title perspective. It lets him have the title. I don't know what they do in July, but then come August, he fights Seth Rollins.
I think what'll happen is if, like you say, what happens, and you have Logan Paul and Gunther at SummerSlam, I think you see possibly Jay and Seth Rollins at SummerSlam.
Sticks, I had sent you an email about going ahead and joining this, brother.
Yeah, I would love to have you.
Hate Logan Paul, but after watching him wrestle at Mania, I'm starting to kind of like the guy. Dude definitely has talent as a wrestler. I see him having a solid career. I do see him having a solid career. I don't know.
He's decent on the mic. He's not great. He's decent.
For being an outsider, though, like he's super talented for the little bit of time he actually has in the ring, I think.
Yeah.
Oh, I agree. I agree. I mean, he's always going to go ahead and be a massive heel.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know because there's always, in my opinion, there's always going to be a large segment of the wrestling fans that are not going to accept him because they're going to say he got to where he got to because of being an influencer from that standpoint, right? There's always going to be that he jumped everybody in line just because 15 million, subscribers, followers, whatever the hell it is.
Yeah.
For sure.
You got it. I sent it to the one where you and I went back and forth about the mat. Fans are done with him, and the ratings are tanking up. They just like, I don't disagree. That's what I mean, Lockin. I just don't see. I just don't understand the push for him. To me, this is going to be one of those things, in my opinion, where if I wonder again, is this from above? Is this an eyeballs thing? Well,
hey, it could be worse. They could be pushing ISO speed. I'm just saying, it could be a lot worse.
Who was it? Kenny Omega said, in a few years, we're going to go ahead and we're going to see Mr. Beast against Logan Paul main event WrestleMania Night 2.
Never say never.
Winner wins what? $500,000?
Yeah, that is
you gotta put money on the line.
Yeah, so I don't know. I mean, again, You think about it. We're 75%, through this card, and not one of us is excited about it.
No.
Yeah, the celebrities don't bring fans. What's happening is this: the
Not if they're in the ring.
celebrities are pricing out the fan because they're bringing in a completely different, bringing in a completely different type of person who is not a true fan. I mean, I was looking on. Somebody made a post on Facebook about wanting to go to one of the Monday Night Raws, and floor seats probably 30 rows back, like $700. I mean, you gotta be out of your freaking mind for Monday Night Raw. 30 rows back on the floor. Get the hell out of here.
Yeah, that's wild.
He might be, Dom. I mean, I don't know, I don't know why AEW is the way they are. I really don't. I think for them, what they will realize, what Tony Khan will realize, is that he can't be the be all end all like Vince was. It doesn't work that way anymore.
Nope.
And he's going to have to bring in and give some more writing and creative to some other people to make that go, because they have a bunch of good wrestlers there. Say whatever you want to say, they have some serious talent there.
Mm-hmm.
I think eventually down the road you'll see WWE buy them out. I have a feeling they will.
Man, I mean, so you're basically going to have one massive wrestling organization?
Probably. We had that for how long? I mean, yeah, you had TNA, but that wasn't really anything like WCW was.
No, I mean, that's true. That's true. We did have WWE doing it all at one point in time. I don't know. It's gonna be interesting. Then we have the GOAT is going against one of his biggest fans ever.
This here is going to be John Cena's loss. One and only loss during his last run. Because it's not a title match. He doesn't lose the title. I mean, I don't know what it does for R-Truth's career or anything like that or storyline, but something tells me they're going to have him win this one. Maybe that starts to set John thinking, did I do the right thing here, turning heel?
Yeah, I mean, truth is, I mean, it's amazing. What is he, 53 years old or something like that, man? I mean, he's unbelievable on the. I mean, just the character is crazy. I mean, I'm not sure. Obviously, it's not for the title, so it really doesn't matter. So obviously, I mean, is this the first match? Is this the kickoff match? Don't you have to have Jay against Logan as the end?
I think, honestly, what you're going to see is the end match is going to be the Seth Rollins match.
Really?
I think so. I don't know. Something just tells me that the first one's going to be the Damian Priest and Drew. That's going to be probably your first match. Then possibly this one. Although, no, Jay, you're right. Jay, the title is usually the main event, so you would put that. This would be second, Seth and then be third, and then Jey Uso and Logan last. If they do it the way they normally do it.
What do you think, Anthony?
I think that Cena's going to win, but if he doesn't, I think it's going to be by DQ, something like dirty. You know what I mean? Where he's going to like snap and like just go off on R-Truth or something like that's going to happen. But I think like with this being his last year, they're going to let him be semi-dominant towards closer to the end. I don't think it does enough for aging R-Truth for him to like get any kind of definitive victory over Cena. But I do think that Cena doing something like crazy on R-Truth could kind of build momentum in his favor moving forward, especially since fans love him so much.
And R2 is going to probably hit at least one FU on him.
Mm-hmm.
You see that coming.
So I think R-Truth in an upset victory, using the most dangerous move in professional wrestling, the secret roll-up. He gets the W, and then Cena just beats the living crap out of him. And I think this is your opening match because I think it goes this match, then the cage match, then the tag, and then the championship match.
Possibly, yeah.
Jey Uso has the the big entrance with everybody going back to yeeting and everything. So to me that would seem to be that way.
I do like that, Logan. I like that. Win in 10 seconds and then
something crazy, and he's celebrating, and stuff like that, and then Cena just
crap out
snaps and beats the living hell out of him. But
what I am surprised about is there's not one women's match in this at all.
Yeah, that is surprising.
Not one. Unless something like they throw one in there, which is always a possibility.
Well, let's see. I mean, I don't know what it could be. They've already started the Money in the Bank, matches. So that really is that's going on Raw and SmackDown, and then they'll have that type of stuff. I don't know. I mean, I just can't believe it's only 4 matches, even if it is 2 hours.
Yeah.
I
figure Jey Uso's entrance is at least 10 minutes long. They're going to give him at least 10 minutes, probably.
How many matches does an average Raw or SmackDown typically have? Because there's a ton of time that goes to commercials and promos typically.
Probably 4 to 5, maybe at the max, 5.
Yeah, maybe 5.
Now, you talk back in the day, there was usually 6.
Mm-hmm.
Because there's always impromptu matches, and now, it's kind of 4 or 5.
Yeah, but I mean, it's. I mean, I don't know. I thought with the lots of in between time. Yeah, I don't know. I always thought just bringing back Saturday night's main event was like a mini PLE, you know what I'm saying? But I thought it would be, I thought it would be better. Like, to me, Saturday Night Main Event is supposed to be better than Raw, better than SmackDown, but not better than a PLE.
Right. Should be that in-between show.
That's just the way it is. So
that is true.
Yeah. Big John, he loves the Truth Cena match. I mean, it makes sense. Let it happen, stuff like that. I mean, it works and stuff. I see that they did announce more John Cena dates and everything, so I think they're down to like 11, 11 that they haven't announced yet.
I think, what did I hear? That his last match is December 13th on SmackDown, I believe it is. It's going to be, or no, not that. It's another Saturday. It might be another Saturday Night Main Event, I think. Or something like that, though. It was like his last match.
Unless they wouldn't make it like Saudi Arabia or something, like where they could cash in huge on it.
Yeah, well, unless they're going to be adding another Saturday Night Main Event, I mean, when you look at it, right now on the calendar, the last PLE for WWE, for SmackDown Raw main roster is Survivor Series. In December, they have a PLE, but I believe it is for NXT.
Could be.
And this weekend, don't we have NXT also on Sunday?
I think so. Yeah.
Battleground with Joe Hendry going up against Trick Williams for
Yeah.
the TNA
Battleground. Yeah.
for the TNA title.
Do you believe in Joe Hendry?
No, I don't.
I don't believe in him, but my goodness gracious, you're gonna go ahead and have a WWE guy win the TNA heavyweight title?
I don't see that happening, but
Seems kind of crazy to me. Which would mean the only way that happens then would be if you have a run-in by a TNA wrestler to prevent Trick from winning and keeping saying, hey, you're not going ahead and taking the TNA title to NXT, something along that ways. True. Yep. I agree. Unless again, it's like some kind of disqualification or something along those lines, they let, Trick Williams win. But again, it's a TNA roster, a couple of guys show up and want to, beat up an NXT guy. But again, like I said, it's weird. Here we are with this card. I mean, how many of these PLE type things in a row have we really gotten where it's like, you know what?
how about we cut back on them?
It's not like super exciting.
No.
Yeah, I agree.
I mean, I'm gonna watch.
Even if you have a lot of run-ins from outside people, it's still not going to make the show any better.
No.
If you have a Randy Orton run in, or you have somebody else run in, it's just not.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, no one's going to run in the cage, and that doesn't make any sense as to who would run in there.
Right.
From that standpoint, so you have that there. Then you figure, the Cena R-Truth thing. If somebody was going to run in, what would it be? Randy?
And if he does, it's going to be after the match when he's starting to Cena's really lighting up R-Truth.
Right. And do we want to see Randy Cena again? Even though that was good at Backlash, do we want to see them again at Money in the Bank?
I don't think I'd want to see him there. SummerSlam, maybe, but
So from that standpoint, so there's two things right there. The tag match, the big
done over and over the years is Randy versus Cena.
Huh?
I said that's another match that they've done over and over the years.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, that match wasn't anything special.
Mm-hmm.
It might have been one of the better matches at Backlash, which is really sad.
Yeah.
I mean, when you think about it, no, the women's match was the top, was the big one there.
Yeah, I don't see Randy and Cena at Money in the Bank. If they do another one, it'll probably be like a Monday night show or Friday night SmackDown, something like that.
Yeah, I'm just interested in seeing where they're taking the whole Cena thing.
Because probably starting in either September or October, somewhere around there, they're probably going to end up turning him face at some point during that time. Because I can't see him going out as a heel. And he's already, I guess, somebody said somewhere he was in an interview that he didn't want to go out as a heel. He wants to go out as a face. But I think it's going to come down to whatever makes them money.
Yeah, but TKO is going to make that decision. At least I would think they would. Maybe they don't, but I would think they would. I don't know. I just, when I look at the whole thing and some of, the storylines now, again, even the whole thing with Heyman, like the storyline is becoming too friggin' predictable. Because they got to have Seth go after that belt at some point in time. You don't put.
I predicted Monday night that Seth was going to get involved. I'm like sitting there, I'm like, here comes Seth. He's going to get involved.
Yeah. No doubt that was going to happen. But but that's what I mean from a standpoint of is that that's what I'm saying. It's just there are too many things that just seem Two professional. I've seen Cena supposed to fight each guy once, a bunch of legend stars like CM Punk said. Yeah.
I can see that happening.
I don't know if he goes. I don't know if he fights Seth.
If Seth doesn't get to Jay, maybe he wins Money in the Bank and comes after Cena after one of his matches. But that's the only way I can see that happening.
Well, yeah, I
I'd love
haven't
to
heard
see him
about Seth.
end- I would love to see Cena end his reign just by putting over somebody, and like just really crowning somebody to be like the next big guy to like carry WWE in the future.
I don't see.
Like, turn face at the end of that, like to really like solidify this is the guy.
I don't see that being CM Punk at all, or not CM Punk. Well, not him or Seth Rollins.
I don't
No,
either.
because
But
Seth
maybe a guy like a Braun Breaker.
because Seth is going to be a heel.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, for the most part, that's what's going to happen there.
You're definitely going to get the CM Punk match because they're going to want that rematch from when CM Punk walked out. Some point.
Well, yeah, I mean, all that could happen because, I mean, I don't know if, I don't know how this whole freaking draft thing and all this other crap goes on and everything. I don't know if CM Punk is he a Raw guy? Is he a SmackDown guy? Or is he one of those free agent guys that goes back and forth, all kind of stuff? But obviously, the draft could change some things.
True.
Yeah.
So I don't see it being Roman. I don't know why, but they just don't see that. Cody possibly, but again, granted, Cody does not want to become a heel, but money talks. That could always change. Like, we're not supposed to see the Rock return is they said the unknown at any time that he'll show up. He can just show up whenever. But they're saying that right now there's no set timeline for him to show up.
I just my perspective, I just don't I don't see who they could be setting up. Cody comes back. If Cody's not in the mix or he is the champion, what is he?
True. I think
You know
I like your idea of him losing to Braun, putting Braun over really good, but
but I definitely can go ahead and see that happen. I mean, that makes a ton of sense, and from what Anthony's saying, it definitely does. But but that means that faction has to split up in 6 months.
I'd like to see that because when they run the factions for years on end, like they did with the Bloodline, it gets stale and nobody wants to watch it.
Or do you do something unbelievably crazy? And do you have the Heyman stable have both heavyweight titles?
Could happen.
Right here,
that would be interesting because when they do the crown jewel, they got to face each other, which would definitely make it. Then I could see the split up
because you could see Seth kind of built under the thought process of, hey, I'm the guy. You're the new guy. Yeah. Then you could see Braun going, yeah, but I'm the undisputed heavyweight champion. You're the heavyweight champion.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? So it would make for some interesting time at around the dinner table.
Yep, sure would.
But I don't know. Some of the storylines, it's like, again, it's weird there. There are not a lot of storylines right now in the WWE.
None that are any good. Not even with that one they want to bring under the Judgment Day. That's not even any good.
That's why I wonder what's going on with the higher ups there. Like, are they shooting down ideas that Triple H or some of the people have? Like, is it too risque? Are they worried about scaring off sponsors or something like that?
That is a possibility.
Because WWE's good programming over the years is all pretty much risque. It's all stuff that was cutting edge, all stuff that pushed the envelope.
Yep.
I mean, they're fighting for crying out loud. You know what I mean? It's like they're literally fighting.
Well, look, I mean, wasn't it right after the Jimmy Uso bleeding? They were like, all right, no more. Right? Didn't they announce that like right after that happened?
Or like, maybe a couple days after that.
You know, like I said, I just look at, when you look at things, it's like, okay, why are you not going ahead? Like, what are you waiting for with the Judgment Day crap?
Yeah. Are they going to go up against Heyman's guys? I doubt it. That's too.
I think a good idea is they just fizzle out. Look at the pop Otis was getting. Now he loses every week. Yeah.
They have a track record of pushing guys no one wants to see pushed to the moon, and then guys like Otis, who people like are like desperate to see pushed, like they do like literally nothing with, but let them just be not even mid carders. Like Otis is like
a jobber
for crying out loud, and he's somebody who's probably more over than some people that they're pushing currently.
Yeah. Look, that's another guy who's an example of unbelievable in NXT. He comes up, gets a little bit of a run, and then done.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
You know, and it's interesting. Like, they had the Alpha Academy with the whole Chad Gable and then that's not going anywhere. So then you turn around and you make him go ahead and form another new faction that is going nowhere. That's the thing that gets me is I understand they want to bring up a lot of these men and women from NXT. You want to bring up Julia, you want to bring up Roxanne, and I'm wondering if they're starting to look at it, and talking about is that do you need to have, because there's two differences in our women right now, it seems, right? You have some big strong ones, Rhea, Jade, Bianca, Nia, right? Roxanne, they're bigger, they appear to be strong, right? And then you have the more petite ones, like Io and Shuri and Roxanne and some of these other ones. I'm wondering if they need to figure out a way to have, like, I hate to say it, but the smaller women on one and the bigger women on the other, because unlike, and I think we talked about it, unlike Rey Mysterio, a guy going up against a larger guy, and the way he flies around the ring and all this other kind of stuff, it makes sense as a smaller wrestler beating a larger wrestler. In the women's division, unless I have missed something, Io Sky really appears to be the only one who's that luchadorish type wrestler on the female side. You don't really see a lot of the other ones going the high flying stuff over the ropes and everything.
True.
Yeah, I think with women, the size doesn't have as much to do with kind of wrestling style as it does with the guys. Because typically, if you're a small guy, you have to fly around to even be taken serious. Like, if you're a smaller woman, you just basically have to look good or have a personality.
Yeah.
Right. But if you're a Rey Mysterio type, if you're that type of high flyer stuff like that, you go, you know what? That guy I could, in the real world, I could kind of sort of see that if this was real, he would have a chance.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't care. You can tell me whatever you want. If I gave you a stack of hundreds and I said, okay, Nia Jax, Roxanne Perez in a real, if it was more on the real side, who's winning that match? how
The
many
last sandwich
times?
you'd eaten for lunch.
You know what I'm saying? It just, to me, it just seems as though the smaller woman against the larger woman, it just seems like, less likely than a smaller guy against a bigger guy.
It's true.
But again, like they're bringing up these people from NXT. Like, okay, I mean, how long has it taken Carmelo to get any kind of little bit of a push? And
True.
now how much of a push is he really getting? They let him win the Andre the Giant Battle Royal.
What they do?
So freaking what?
Yeah.
Like, what does that get you?
Nothing.
I just don't,
And there's just so many of them that they're not pushing. I mean,
oh no way.
Honestly, like the ladies probably should get a main event because some of their matches have been more entertainment than some of the matches we've been given as played.
yeah. And it's just, I mean, and you go to that pushing, like if R-Truth wins, what are they gonna push him to? They're not gonna push him at all, even though he's one of the biggest pops out there when he comes out.
Yeah.
They're not gonna do anything with him.
No, I think that.
And what about? And then the other one I think of is Penta. How many times are they going to have him lose to Dom?
Yeah,
of all people.
I mean, I gotta believe we're at a point to where Money in the Bank has got to be an El Grande Americano against Penta.
You think they do a mask for mask at that point?
No, because I don't think Penta. Well, only if the plan would be that Penta is winning.
Right.
I cannot believe that Penta would come over to the WWE to potentially risk losing his mask.
True.
In my opinion. Well, look at Ray Phoenix, right? He came out like a friggin' shot, and then all of a sudden he loses to El Grande Americano. And now what has he done since?
I've seen him backstage once, and that was it.
Yeah. And then they have, what is that? El Gato with Berto and
Yeah.
Estebar. It's like that's what I mean. There's so that's what there are storylines, but if you're not going to have the people wrestle but once a month, how do you go ahead and really have a storyline?
Yeah. I think they could cut their wrestlers in half, right in half, and still have great storylines and great shows. They
probably have better storylines.
They have too many people right now. They're like, what do we do? What do we do? What do we do? And they just keep bringing up. It's just not.
Yeah. Well, it's even like, from a women's standpoint, right? You got the Lyra Becky thing going.
Yep.
Okay. I like, to me, it's just like, okay, well, I understand this. This actually winds up making the women's IC title, at least it gives it a little bit.
Right.
It was nothing before Becky went ahead and turned and beat the crap out of her.
True.
But
oh yeah, Tiffany, whatever her name is, I can't stand her. Can't wait to see the title.
Where's her competition coming from? Who's next in line with her?
There's just so many. There's just too many.
Do you think putting up all their rosters like this, like with all of these wrestlers that don't even get booked on these big shows, just to make sure like the AEWs of the world don't get better and compete?
True. I will say I do want to watch Braun Strowman's new cooking show. I want to see that. It's like
Yeah.
you get released from wrestling, but we'll give you a cooking show.
Yeah. But I mean, you know, hey, I don't know how the independent circuit is. I don't know what these. I mean, you only, when you think about the independents, you're like the only one that I really know of, is Cardona, Zack Ryder, right?
And now
But
he's in AEW, isn't he?
no, I think I don't know if he has signed on fully or if he has if he has kind of like, he'll do some shows there while still doing, some of his, independent stuff.
Yeah, true, yeah.
But I agree with you, Sticks. And Andrade has a lot of good matches, but yeah, if you're not going to be good on the mic, there's not a lot you could do. Problem they have not solved is booking 4 shows now, 2 men's, 2 women's. Not enough time to book. Exactly.
You can't build storylines like you used to be able to.
Side note, I remember correctly. Congratulations on the wedding, Anthony.
Thank you, Dom. Appreciate it, brother.
Dom, you were supposed to be on here. Just saying. So are we going to do the live on Saturday night while we watch it and commentate?
I don't know.
Or do we let Michael Cole and Pat McAfee do it for us?
Yeah.
They make more money.
This is true.
Cardona, Effie, and Janela are big indie guys now. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I don't know, but Lockie made a great point. I mean, they're booking, they're booking 2 shows, of main roster, and even when they went to Raw, got people and SmackDown people. I mean, in reality, they got 3 shows. You got Raw, NXT, you got SmackDown. The stuff they're doing on Sunday nights or what they're doing with Evolve and LFG and everything. I mean, though, sooner or later, some of them are going to go ahead and have to, pop up and move up and everything. So, again, how much, how much talent do you have? I mean, I think that's why they got to do a lot more talking on these shows. That's the only way they get people on TV.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because they can't all wrestle.
Maybe we get an AEW invasion of WWE.
Yeah. They have to figure something out. I mean, quite honestly, Money in the Bank is always a little interesting. There's always a little bit of a surprise there and stuff like that, which is fine.
If AEW does invade WWE, can we have Chris Jericho beat Stone Cold Steve Austin and The Rock on the same freaking night?
That would be really good.
Yeah.
That would be really good.
The writers are working on that one. Give them a chance. Jericho just needs to stop wrestling altogether.
Who?
Jericho.
Yeah. The learning tree.
If that's what you want to call it.
That's what he's right now. The learning tree with Big Cass or Big Bill or whatever the hell he goes by.
Let's bring Enzo back, damn it. Straight up G.
Yeah.
Certified thug.
Yep.
This is Big Cass, and he's 7 feet tall, and you can't teach that. But I don't know. I mean, like you said, there's so many wrestlers. That the storylines again. I think sometimes maybe we look at it
You're back.
in a way that we shouldn't look at it. Maybe we look at it from a standpoint of is that, man, okay, they're bringing up Roxanne Perez. They're bringing up Julia. They got to be making a push as a upper card type wrestlers, don't they? Because why would you bring them up if you're not gonna?
I mean, maybe they have high hopes for him, or maybe they have a hole to fill. Maybe they might have injuries somewhere, or expiring contracts somewhere. But like we were talking about last week, like they got to know that really only 10% of the people they bring up are going to ever hit that main event level that they're looking for.
Yeah.
So they basically waste them at that point. You know what I mean? Because you can't send them back down.
No, and then they do stupid shit like they do with Chelsea Green and having whatever the hell that CIA thing is, whatever the hell that was called,
Yeah.
just to get Piper Niven and Alba Fire, I guess, to keep them because you don't want to go ahead and release them.
Mm-hmm. Uh-oh.
Look who's here.
There's my wifey.
Hello,
Here, Miss Ladyfella.
Miss Ladyfeller. You know what I'm saying? Like I that's the only thing that gets me. Like I'm not saying that they shouldn't give them a chance. Like I just don't understand what you're doing with them. Like I don't understand what you bring Rusev back and you bring Aleister Black back when you're having two former champions, and whether or not they should have been champion or should not have been champion doesn't make a difference. They still are two former heavyweight champions. And you got to have them just fight each other, who knows, however many freaking times.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and you got to wonder, like, what kind of promises were they given coming back? Like, I find it hard to believe that they would get anywhere close to the push that Cody got coming back. You know what I mean? Like, I just kind of see them falling back into the main, like the mid card, because they have too many main event caliber people. They just don't have. They have too many mouths to feed, just not enough food.
Yep. Yeah, Larkin, you're right. Julia is incredible. And then at some point in time, Stephanie Varkar is going to come up. And so there's a story. Well, not a story. What happened was when they were bringing Stephanie Valcar to the 100%, she'll definitely get a push. When they were bringing Stephanie over and signing her, they told her, "Where do you want to go?" They were basically they were letting her choose any one of the three that she could go to. She picked NXT because she wanted to get better with English. She said she wants to improve her English to be able to be better on the mic. Hey, Brendan. I mean, yeah, you're right. I think like I said, I think that's one of those things. I think we look at these guys and we look at these girls and we see where they were, and it kind of is like we scratch our head and and it's weird. It's like again you push Logan Paul to those type of heights, but you let Drew McIntyre, you kind of throw him to the side. You throw a Priest, to the side. Like, where's Logan Paul gonna go? Like, what happens with him? He does go a little on the crazy side, Sticks. He definitely goes a little on the crazy side, man.
I don't really think there's anywhere for Logan to go at this point, especially if he loses to Jay. That it just doesn't make sense.
Yeah, that's what I mean. What are you doing with him? Are you bringing him on because he can do a couple of things in the ring and he can fly around and also kind of stuff? And then
a good promo here or there, and that's it.
And then you have him lose, and then what? What does he leave and go? Oh, the hell with this! I'm gonna go to SmackDown, and I'm gonna go against John Cena. Like, I mean, I just don't know what you're doing with a Logan Paul. I mean, there's a guy who has had zero storyline from the first day he stepped into the company.
Exactly. But yet he got pushed into belts and title run and stuff like that.
Yeah. How many title shots has he had?
More than his fair
You know,
share.
You know, a Drew doesn't deserve a shot at Jay. A Priest doesn't deserve a shot at Jay. No, let's go ahead and give Logan Paul the shot. Like I just don't. Like I said, I mean, I just don't get some of the things that they're trying to do,
Or even the
and
Finn
it's
Balor shot
frustrating.
at Jay. What are they doing with Finn Balor now? Nothing. Besides maybe trying to break up the Judgment Day, but don't see it happening. But Jay would have been, or Finn would have been a good candidate for Jay.
Finn and Jay
We're
would put on a
preoccupied with trying to get outside eyes on it rather than rewarding the people that have paid their dues.
Yeah. Because you think about it from a standpoint of it, so here you were, you having Penta have a little run at going for the IC, and now all of a sudden it seems that that's going to go away because he's going to have to go against El Grande Americano,
Chad Gable.
Otis, as Dom would say. So that means you go ahead and you have Finn. Now you have Finn. You break them up. Where does so JD McDonough goes somewhere or something along those lines. And then now you're starting a Finn against Dom for the IC title.
I could see that happening.
You know, who's next for Fatu for the US title? Are you going to have LA Knight again are you going to have him and LA Knight going to keep going after it? Or is there going to be something that happens at some time with Solo?
I'm glad you brought that up. Because when Logan loses to Jay, he goes after Fatu for that title. I think that's one that he hasn't won yet.
He might as well go ahead and keep going after him because I don't know. I mean, I just like I said,
is there anybody that can beat Fatu at this point? They're not going to take that belt off him anytime soon. I don't think.
Probably not cleaned, at least.
Maybe that new guy, the Jeff Cobb or whatever.
Jeff Cobb. Yeah, it's like okay. So there's another one. There's another guy who comes from the indie circuit, and boom, look what happens to him.
And I hear they're bringing up Zilla here soon, and another Fatu. Like, really? Because people are saying that when Roman comes back, he's going to come back with Zilla and this other Fatu guy as a faction.
They got a whole litter of Samoans out there just ready to start wrestling.
I would love to see Fatu turn face. I don't see it happening, but I think it'd be something interesting to watch.
Yeah, Cobb is a beast. He's a big person who can.
He's the only challenger I see for Fatu.
He can move. He can move well. From that standpoint. So obviously, there's going to be something going on there. So that kind of breaks up per se. Maybe when Hollywood writers are replaced by AI, they will go to wrestling as a gig. Yeah.
Maybe they already did, Brandon. Maybe they already followed suit.
Yeah.
I think that's why it sucks.
I think Fatu is a face.
I think he's starting to turn the way it looks. He's a waste of space. I'm sorry. He can't wrestle. He tries to be like Umaga with the spike, and it just doesn't work. It's a waste.
Yeah. Like I said, and it's funny. They have their issues and everything, but I'm still going to turn in on Saturday night. I'm still going to turn in on Monday. I'm still going to try and watch NXT. I'm still going to try, still going to, figure out a way to watch SmackDown and everything,
I don't watch is NXT. I haven't gotten into that one yet.
The women's division in NXT, they have a lot of acrobats there. They have a lot of the young girls that they've brought in from college with gymnastics backgrounds. And you could see them starting to, to move around and stuff like that, and how they get around the ring and all the other kind of stuff, and Sol Ruka has the Soul Snatcher as her freaking has her finisher, which is an unbelievable move.
I agree, Sticks.
Yeah, that's the role. That is the role for for a Solo.
You're
That's
welcome,
the kind of
Brando.
role that would have been like with him with Paul Heyman and stuff like that, right? And I say that rather than a Braun Breaker. And I say that just from a standpoint, not that it would ever happen, but I say that from a standpoint of is that I hope they don't waste Breaker. I know because he's young, he has time, but I hope they don't waste these years or this next year or so of him being, the muscle, the henchman, the other guy in that stable.
Yeah.
Of course,
Appreciate it,
John's the
Brando.
sex appeal of this stream. That's why we have to keep bringing him on.
That's right.
Bald head, it fit right in.
But that's what I'm saying. That's the thing that gets me, with it. Obviously, you couldn't do it because of the way, because of the bloodline thing. But that's like I said, Sticks brings it up. That's the kind of role that would have been a good one for Solo.
He's way too green to be the leader right now, too. In my opinion,
Yes.
you know what I mean. Like he's still like reasonably new to this, and he's young. He needs some time. Like even Roman at his age wasn't leading
because he's only had maybe a handful of matches at best.
Yep.
He's always been the interfere guy.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's what he always was and everything.
And
Yeah, I mean,
another one. What are they going to do with Jimmy Uso? I mean, they're going to end up putting them back together at some point. I don't foresee it, but it's a possibility. The only way I see it though is if Jay drops the title to somebody.
Well, you got to figure Jay drops the title. He has to have another. He has to get a shot at getting it back.
Right, the rematch, yeah.
But the problem you have is where does that fit in? If you're letting him hold it to the neck to SummerSlam. After SummerSlam, I guess you do Night of Champions. Well, you can't do really Night of Champions. Well, I don't know. You do something, but you got to figure he's got to. You can't. I don't think you take the belt off him that fast and then push him
right back into
push him out of the way. Jimmy is really good. And
what was the pay-per-view in July? What is that? Was that the Clash in Paris or is that?
Let's see. WWE PLE schedule. So what they have right now is we got. So we have the draft starts after Battleground. That's coming up there. We have Money in the Bank June 7th, Night of Champions in Riyadh June 28th, Evolution July 5th. But I don't know, is Evolution
that's NXT,
WWE thing or is that an NXT thing?
I think that's NXT.
Then we do Saturday night main event July 12th. They're calling that Saturday night main event XL, which they're saying it's 40. So I don't know if that means it's going to be bigger. Then in August we have August. Nothing's confirmed is NXT Heatwave. Then your next big one after that is SummerSlam, the 2nd and the 3rd. Oh, Evolution is probably going to be all.
Yeah, I forgot about that.
Brendan had a question too. He said, from my experience, how far in advance are storylines created or is it done on the fly? Most of them are created pretty far in advance. Like for the main, championship caliber people, I would say probably at least 3 to 6 months out. They're planning what's going on. WWE, they might even be a year ahead in most of their major storylines, like minor storylines. That those might be more week to week, especially wrestlers that they're trying to work back into the shows. Sometimes unless you're in a consistent storyline, it takes a minute to kind of get worked back into a show just because there's so many people kind of fighting for positioning. So if you're one of like the people they build the show around, your storylines normally get developed pretty far out unless there's injuries or some last minute change to scheduling, like the guy you're supposed to wrestle doesn't show or something like that happens. Then there might be last second stuff, but the only time it's normally like last second or like week of is normally on like the more minor storylines where you're trying to work people in, or guys are coming back from injury, you're not sure if they're ready yet, so you're kind of playing it by ear, that type of stuff.
Yeah. Here's another good one. The match that nobody wants to see. Do you think it ever happens? The Roman versus Rock.
I don't know how, to me, like, I don't know when you would do it. Obviously, it would have to be a WrestleMania. I mean, in my opinion, I think if you were going to do it, it would be a WrestleMania or a SummerSlam type thing. And I don't know how you would develop a storyline to it unless it's a bloodline type thing coming back.
And you'd have to have Roman come back as a face, not as a heel. I mean, I guess you could have him a heel as well, but that's very rare.
Yeah, I don't. Yeah.
I mean, I don't want to see it because I just don't think it's going to be any good. It'd be like a John Cena going up a Ric Flair type deal. I mean, you can bring back Ric Flair, I guess, for John to go up.
Gosh.
Maybe Hogan.
Geriatric match.
Yeah, no problem, brother. Anytime.
Well, we have our first ever wheelchair match.
There you go.
That would be awesome. It'd be like the Special Olympics of wrestling.
And he goes back into the corner.
And not only that,
look like if I ever come out of retirement.
We have them in wheelchairs and we tether them together.
Yeah, that would be awesome.
With like a giant rubber band as they stretch, they end up slamming into each other.
Nice.
It'd be like a leather strap match. Yeah, I don't know. You can still throw them chops. Yeah. Yeah, I don't,
Here's another one. The whole Grayson Waller, A-Town, and Sheamus thing. Where are they going with that? I know they're trying to break up that Grayson Waller, whatever his name is, other guy. You can see they're trying to break that
Austin Theory.
Austin Theory.
Well, it's Waller and Theory. That's the team. I mean, again, at least they could have a mini feud, but that's only going to be a feud on TV. You don't want to see that out any PLE.
No, you're not going to see it there. But I mean, and I think they could really, and as much as I don't like them, I could see them doing a lot with Austin Theory because he is built like a Randy Orton was back in the day. I could see Logan Paul against Theory. That'd be an interesting match.
It would.
But there's nothing there. So it's like I'm trying to watch it. I'm like, why? What are they doing here with this whole? I mean, Sheamus is kind of out of shape still. He needs to do a little more work on his belly area. But I mean, really, they're not doing much. It's okay, one here, one there, and that's it. He's fought both of them.
Yeah, I wonder if that's more of if that is more to gear up some kind of feud between those two.
Because I mean, the only thing I can think of next match would be him against both of them. A handicap, which I still see Sheamus winning. Other than that, you really don't have much else going on.
Yeah, I don't. But I think the funny thing is, that's what I'm saying. I mean,
the
that's what I mean about the storylines and stuff. there's none of them that are, you know, compelling. And even on the women's side, there's really none. Oh, okay. So Io Sky tags up with Rhea against Julia and Roxanne. And then Julia and Roxanne break up right after that, which,
Yeah.
okay. And then the big stare down of Rhea staring at the belt. Woo! Oh my
And
gosh!
you didn't have
No
it.
way! Wow! Yeah, I wasn't sure it was going to be Sheamus either, but you know, it is. So, you know, I don't know. I don't, like I said, you know, I'll complain about them or like that. I'm still going to show up and watch because you know, you're hoping for that, you know, the
You
thing
want to
that
see what happens next.
you might not see that you all of a sudden you're going to see.
Yeah.
You know, I think they, I think they've, I think sometimes they back themselves into corners lately with some of these matches that they're trying to put on that, you know, people don't want. It's like, how many people want to see Jey Uso against Logan Paul? I don't care. At anything, pick any event throughout the entire year. At what event do you want to see those two?
That is like a Monday night or SmackDown. That's all that is.
But even then, I wouldn't care.
I mean, honestly, even the Cena versus Truth is more of like a Monday Night Raw type match.
It is.
Yeah,
Because as over as Truth is, he's in the same category as Otis. Like, he's not even a mid Carter.
Yeah.
right, right.
And you're lucky if you see him 2 times a month.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. But again, I think Brennan said it, you know, of, you know, looking through the eyes of a, you know, of a 12-year-old, or maybe looking through the eyes of someone that just heard about wrestling,
Yeah.
like just stumbled upon it.
Mm-hmm.
And I
You
also
know,
think a lot of these matches look great on paper, but then when they actually have them, they're just like total duds.
well,
That's
it's
why-
going ahead, and I mean, you know, and you know, I mean, we'll see. You know, Cena's going ahead and he's going out, right? Okay. So then you start looking at some of the other ones. Walken always does make great points. Yeah, most definitely does. And Dom, don't be afraid to you know, time out Matty Ice if he's going to be talking a bunch of crap.
But the Knicks?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, but
Post game.
you know, but you know, as these guys, you know, it's I don't know, man. It's kind of tough because some of these youngsters. I mean, it's almost like, what do you do with Dragunov when Dragunov comes back, man? He's
him,
he's incredible.
Bronson Reed. What do you do with him? What do you do with? I mean, the Tamatonga and them. Yeah. But like you
Yeah.
got so many people coming back. I mean, even next year when you have Owens come back, what are you gonna do with him?
That's going to be an ongoing problem they have. They just have too much talent.
Yeah.
Like, unless you have, like, you take turns, like the little kids in my youth church. Like, okay, now it's your turn to play with that toy. Okay, now it's your turn to play with that toy. Like, that's what I feel like they're doing with the belts. Like, they have way too many qualified wrestlers.
Yeah. And it's a problem that's not going to go away.
Mhm.
You know, I mean, you gotta believe that a guy like Joe Hendry is not going to stay at TNA forever.
Mhm.
Now he'll get more money through
You know,
WWE, I'm sure.
you know, so there's another guy, another one who's going to come over, and you think about a guy like a Trick Williams.
Mhm.
You know, that they have. You look at what they, you know, and then we talk about Rusev and Aleister Black coming from AEW, but don't forget, you brought back Ethan Page. You brought over Ethan Page. You brought back over Ricky Saints.
Yep.
there's two more guys, that were from AEW and and stuff like that. So
Yeah, there's too many people.
yeah, and it's just gonna yeah. Oh yeah, Obafemi. There's another beast. Him, Trick Williams, and you look at some of the guy, that Javon, him, like a 21-year-old kid. Another one, incredible. But how long do how you if you go ahead and you bring in Obafemi up, what are you doing with him? Like, why bring him up for him to do what? To go against Seth Rollins and get beat up by Braun Breaker? Like
I
what?
mean,
Like why bother?
leave some of them down there for a little bit longer until you see the people that you have on the roster now actually work out. If they're not, then send them back down, bring him up or something like that, to where you're not cramming your rosters with crap.
I think they're getting to the point to where they probably need to move NXT out of that small arena that they are in, which I think they are there. I think they're at the what do you call it? The Performance Center.
Center, yeah.
And they're going to be in Orlando. They probably need to move them, to, I don't know if there's a Coliseum type thing, or a garden, a larger arena, maybe where the Magic play basketball or something, and maybe look at bringing them up and not call them not the main roster anymore. Don't have this main roster thing, right? Have Raw, NXT, SmackDown, and have them be, equal, and have the different wrestlers on there. This way they could go ahead and, if you're gonna bring up an Obafemi, okay, then put Otis back down there and let Otis go ahead and now have runs and all those types of things, in my opinion.
It's a good
Wonder if
question.
more
They're
title
already adding more titles, like especially like with the women's IC, women's tag team recently, like 24/7, like all of these different things they've done. Plus, you figure NXT, the SmackDown titles, the Raw titles. Like yeah, it seems like
I
they've
mean, what's
definitely
next?
done
They're
that.
gonna
It's boosted the attendance.
a women's U.S. title. I mean, they're gonna bring the North American title up to WWE main roster. The only one I want to see back is the hardcore title.
Yep.
Yeah. But go ahead and you know what? Go ahead, change the names and all the other kind of shit. Say, hey, you have the Raw heavyweight champion, the SmackDown heavyweight champion, the NXT heavyweight champion. And have the wrestlers move. I think that would be one of the things that they should consider doing is elevating NXT, putting them in bigger arenas. They have good people. They have good wrestlers down there, and stuff. And it's funny, they put on. It's funny how they put on good shows. They have, again, they don't really have storylines per se. I know they're still working on that type of stuff, but you have such a small audience, that it's kind of hard to have, the bigger stuff there. But I mean, you have Stephanie Varcar down there who is, you just brought Jordan Grace over from TNA.
Mm-hmm.
And like you said, if you move it to a bigger arena, you have some of these main roster guys go down there for a couple months or whatever. Those NXTs are actually getting to wrestle some of the main roster people to see how it works and get them maybe a little bit better than what they are.
Yeah.
And it helps the main roster guy because he's not really being pushed on TV. I mean, for all I care, you could send Logan Paul down there, but where he should be anyway. But
no, but if you had it at a bigger arena, and you looked at NXT as not being it's developmental, but don't do that. Spread those people out amongst all three, and 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 then if you send a Drew down there and the Drew becomes an NXT champion, and it's not frowned upon.
True. Good
You
idea.
know, I mean, it would give you, it'd give you the ability to have some more. In my opinion, it'd give you the ability, to have some more people, get some time and everything. I mean, you're already putting them on TV. You're already having the shows. You know, right? You definitely
Yeah,
you could have more wrestlers on there.
exactly.
If I mean, from that standpoint, I mean, a bigger arena definitely would mean more money.
This is true. You could even have some better PLEs with them. But I agree
Yeah,
with you. If you spread them out, you don't have so many sitting on one roster or one show at any point. They're kind of divided evenly.
yeah,
But
yeah. I don't know.
who, who are we?
It's interesting. Interesting stuff they have going on. I think obviously, with what we have going on Saturday night, like we said before, hey, pretty much. I don't think unless there is a unexpected run in or a turn from Sammy. I don't really think there's going to be many surprises that occur. To me, what I'm going to be interested in the most is just how long they let the Drew Priest match go.
Yeah. Well, looking at on WWE right now for this Friday, supposedly Cody's going to be there. Is what they're showing on their site.
Really?
Yeah, he's with him, Randy Orton, Fatu, LA Knight, Bianca, and Solo. Wait, is Bianca even cleared yet? They have her slated coming back around July or August, but then that could not be exactly right either. Who knows? It's just broken fingers, so I mean,
Tape them up.
exactly.
Yeah.
Drew is not going to be a champion for a long period. At the most, he'll get 2-3 months tops. If he gets one.
True. So looking at your pay-per-views like you were talking about, John, there's quarter four. It'll be Saturday night's main as of right now. Saturday night's main event is the only WWE type PLE for December.
Yeah, I saw that, and I'm looking at
You have
Money in the
NXT.
Bank. They do show Cody and Cena supposedly there, but obviously all that can change.
Yeah, I don't think you're gonna see Cody there. I don't
Night
know
of
why.
Legends,
I
you know,
mean,
so
if you bring Cody back, don't you have to? eh, If you bring Cody back, doesn't he have to go ahead and go against Cena?
something tells me they're going to make him work up to it. I don't know why, but I have a feeling that's what they're going to do.
Well, against who? Travis Scott. I mean,
I show speed, Bad Bunny,
yeah. I mean, I just don't know. What Cody works up to.
I mean,
Yeah,
I could see a possible. Well, no, that wouldn't make sense because he doesn't have the titles to say Randy and him, but I don't see that making any sense.
I don't think that would be good.
I
I
can't
don't
see
know.
him, can't see him going after Fatu. That would make no sense either. But you're right. He would kind of have to start another storyline with Cena somehow.
Doesn't he? Doesn't he have to come back against Cena? And I understand the whole thing about not wanting to be a heel, but you would think that works that way.
I think at some point, yes, he's going to
That
turn.
is the turn. That they turn each other. Is
Yeah,
what they do. Like the match, it's it's Rocky, man. It's Rocky when he goes to Russia.
yeah.
You didn't like me much when I got here. I didn't like you much. But look what happened. You know? You know what I'm saying? Like, right? You know, they hate each other. Or the fans can't stand Cena. They never, and then all of a sudden, boom, 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 bam. You know what I'm saying? And then somehow in the match is when the turn occurs. My only thing that I want to see, I don't care how this whole thing ends. If Saturday night main event in December is John Cena's last match, if that's what it is, or if it is SmackDown, the only thing I want him to go out on a W.
Okay, so when is that? Is that a
I don't want him to go out on a loss like a lot of the other ones do. And if you're not going to have it, if you're not going to have his last match be at a PLE like a lot of these other guys have had, then you don't have to have him lose. You could have him win. John Cena's last time in the ring, he's already doesn't have the title or anything like that. He's back to being a face. And I don't care who you put in there. You let him do his thing. He can't wrestle. You let him hit his 5 moves, and the crowd the crowd goes crazy.
all right? So I'm looking at ESPN. They're saying the time is out, projecting John Cena's final WWE matches. And let's see. They're saying Money in the Bank, Jey Uso, and Jey Uso defeats him.
No, that ain't happening.
The match would only be for Jay's title, which, if they did that, yes, I could see Jay winning it because he's not getting the title. Then they have him defeating on July 12th, defeating CM Punk. Oh, God, I hope this does not come true. They're saying SummerSlam, John Cena and Travis Scott defeat Cody Rhodes and Bad Bunny. Oh, that would be such a bad one.
That would be really bad.
Really? They're going to put there's September TNA Victory Road. Joe Hendry beats John Cena by DQ. And then I guess a crown jewel. It's a triple threat. Cena, Seth Rollins, and Roman.
Yeah.
Cena wins that one.
I think you're looking at.
Oh, now this would be interesting. The Saturday night main event in December.
That's the last one.
Cody Rhodes defeats John Cena for the undisputed title.
That's the one that makes the most sense.
Yeah.
And then you have him show up. You have him go to
Monday Night
Raw, or you have him go to SmackDown and then win.
Yeah. Although the Travis Scott and Bad Bunny would be an interesting.
Gosh, no, please. Travis Scott can't do nothing. That's
I
the
can't
last
see
thing.
him doing the TNA against Joe Hendry. That just doesn't make sense.
No, too many. That's what I'm saying. It's all a blur. There's no storylines. There's nothing that anybody really wants to see when it comes to this, which is kind of weird when you think about all that Cena was in the heyday, and it's not like there's not a lot that people want to see.
I mean, the only thing, if it would have ever been possible, would be a Stone Cold versus Cena. That would have been an interesting match to see.
Oh, hell yeah.
You saw the what, 3 times or twice, whatever it was. Seen him against Triple H. Maybe Kurt Angle comes back. Since that was the first match for John, really.
Ruthless aggression
Against Pittsburgh royalty. Ever tell you the time I saw Kurt Angle at Disney on Ice?
No. In Pittsburgh?
He was there with a slew of little girls because he has young girls.
In Pittsburgh?
Yeah. I was like, Kurt. He just like ignored me.
Yeah, I don't know. We'll see what happens. We'll see what happens. So,
Yeah, I'm
well,
pretty
fellas,
sure.
what?
Like I said, I think the only match that makes sense is that last one. Yeah, that's true. A massive heel turn might change things.
Yeah,
But
but
who's the massive heel turn?
the massive heel turn is got to be Cody.
That's the only. I mean, maybe he beats Cena and then he comes out, like you said, against Cena and as a heel, as a Cena being face at that point.
When you think, if you're looking at faces, like faces that are over, or that will be over. Well, I mean, let's face it. The truth of the matter is, it's Cody, it's Jay, from let's say if you want to call them the top level guys that are actual faces. What other face is there? You know,
Yeah,
because
because
I
even
don't, because to me, like I don't consider Randy. Even though in the last match Randy was the face, right? Randy to turn heel is not a big deal,
no, because you usually see it coming eventually.
right? So I mean, it would have to be Cody or Jay. I mean, again, there's really nobody else that you would look and go, oh my gosh, right? Because who do you think are the pure heels that you have right now?
Because I don't see CM Punk doing it, and he's like another Randy Orton. You kind of flip flop with him so much. Yeah, there really isn't besides Jay and him. I mean, it really makes no sense. I don't think anybody else.
Right.
Just them two. And I don't see Jay turning heel anytime soon. It'd have to be Cody.
No, I mean, and there's yeah, like you don't know what would have to happen. Like, I mean, it would have
Maybe
to
Cody
be.
turns heel prior to that match. That's a possibility too. And then you have the heel versus heel, but the one heel is going to turn face during that match. And I bet you anything The Rock will be at that match, and then Cena will turn on The Rock for some reason, put him down or whatever. But
That's what we mean. That's what we're doing. But when you're talking about,
yeah,
to
do
me,
it away. No one sees it coming. But Cody, everybody's going to see that kind of coming because they've talked about it so much.
it's gonna be hard to convince people
Yeah,
that he won't. And I think, again, when you look at the faces, there's no face out there that you go, oh my gosh, there's no way that guy would. LA Knight, but I don't, to me, he's not I mean, to me, the megastar is not a big megastar
no.
to turn heel, and it really means something.
Yeah, those are the only two that really make
Those are
any
the
sense.
only two. Those are the only two faces that you have that if they turned heel would be, oh my gosh. Because even if you said, let's say, like a Gunther turned face, and then Gunther turns back to heel, people would be like, yeah, okay, whatever.
We saw it coming.
You were, we hated you before, we'll hate you again.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know.
We'll have to see.
We will have to see. We'll have to see.
The only thing we know.
But hey, everybody, hey, thanks a lot for hanging out with us tonight. Enjoy Saturday. Enjoy if you watch Sunday. Enjoy Sunday. Then you got Monday Night Raw. You got the holiday 3-day weekend. Relax. Spend some time with your families. Enjoy. John, Anthony, thank you very much for coming on and spending the time with me. Much appreciated. Anybody still in the chat? If you're not doing anything tomorrow night, come over to Dibdit Cards. I'm gonna be co-hosting of my first card sale over there. Hopefully, leading the way to be able to get be able to do breaks on that site. If I could go ahead and earn my stripes. So
Send me the link to that in my email.
I will.
That way I can just hop on.
You got it. Thanks a lot, everybody. Have a good one.
Yep.